Hey folks, we're going to do some game design today. We're playing with Darksun subclass playtest content that Wizards released a couple weeks ago. We're going through the process of converting those subclasses into the color mana system that we have published on the DMsGuild. So it's going to take a moment for me to grab the link here and do social media posts. So if you're catching this in the future, you can skip ahead like a minute and I'll see you after the bump. Like a minute, but for those that are trapped here with me in time space now, I'll regale you with my origin story, and while I press a bunch of buttons. So hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create, illustrate, and publish role-playing games online. I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a Darksun enthusiast since 1994. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999, and I've been creating content on the DMsGuild since 2018. The first publication that I posted there was the color mana system for use in 5e with any of the MTG worlds using the 5e game engine. We've been updating those mechanics for 2024, which will be releasing in the front half of 2026. And so now they have Darksun stuff. I love Darksun. I've played so much Darksun in 2nd edition, 3rd edition, not in 4th edition, but I also ran a few Darksun kit bashes in 5th edition as well. And boy, I love the brutal grittiness of Darksun. I love all of the flavor that goes into it, the societies. It's super cool. So we're going to take time and build out. We're going to use the playtest document that we have here. So if you click that link, it'll take you to a read-only document. I have the Dragon King Patron page prepped here, and I'm going to take this here and we're going to scroll down to like around page 80, I want to say. Let's get past the Paladin, the Ranger, the Rogue, and then we'll hit the Warlock. So spell point Warlock using the color mana system has a 1-to-1 point ratio. You can hold on, I'll show you. If we go to the color mana spell point variant rules on DMsGuild, and here's a big bundle. If we grab Spell Point Warlocks, it's pay what you want. God bless you if you're willing to give me some coin for this, but I'd much rather you see it and be disappointed in it and not want to invest in it than to force you to go through a paywall to see if you think something is cool. It went gold medal a little while ago. God bless you guys with the big fat 4.5 out of 5 stars. I'm pretty happy with that, but again, just pay what you want. You can pick it up, but the first half of it is using the old 2014 spell point system that was in the Dungeon Master's Guide, which is a horrible way to use spell points. The superior universal spell points in high magic system using color mana. You can see it here. It's a short rest mana supply, just like the monk has. Level 1 to 20, you gain 1 to 20 points. When you get to 11th level, when you get access to Mystic Arcanum, which we refer to as high magic at 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th level, you start the short rest that you get with your pack magic can be used to cast any spells up to 5th level. If you want to cast 6th level or higher magic, you have to use long rest mana. So you get 6 of them at 11th level, because a 6th level spell costs 6 mana to cast. A 7th level spell 2 levels later is 7 mana to cast, so 6 plus 7 equals 13, and then 8 is 21, and then 9 is 30. And if you want to use the optional wish mechanics, pushing the wish spell back to 19th level as a 10th level spell, you could then add on another 40 points by 20th level. The 1-to-1 point ratio means that you can cast a first level spell with 1 mana. You can still cast a first level spell like at 6th level with 1 mana. You aren't required to use your maximum spell level because it isn't a short rest supply of spell slots. It's a pool of mana that you spend on a 1-to-1 point ratio. Warlocks are using the color mana system. You have 2 colors. Like say black and blue is probably what we're going to see. The Warlock, the Dragon King Patron, possibly white and black. So we would generally have 2 colors for the Warlock. We're going with black and blue. We'll go with black mana for Pact mana. And then the Mystic Arcanum counts as both black and blue mana, but the spells that you cast with Mystic Arcanum are blue. So Mystic Arcanum points are both black and blue magic, so you can cast the blue spells, level 6 to 10, and all of your Pact magic is black. So the Pact mana is black, the Mystic Arcanum spells are blue, the Pact mana you get is black for casting Pact magic, but the Mystic Arcanum points are both black and blue, so you can use them to cast your Mystic Arcanum spells, 6, 7, 8, 9, possibly 10 if you want to include that. But like you can see here, like at 11th level you get 6 points for a 6th level spell, but you don't get another one until 13th level. So at 12th level you get an extra 3 points. So you can cast your 6th level spell, and then you have 3 points left over that you can use to spend on extra castings of Pact mana. You get 3 points, you can get an extra 3rd level spell slot. Otherwise, you've got 12 mana. You got 12 short rest mana plus the 3, so that's effectively 15 mana that you can spend at 12th level to cast 3 5th level spells if you wanted to, which is correlating with the spell slot system for the Warlock. So this is just converting it into a mana system. If you want to be complicated, you could designate Pact magic to be more than one color, but then separate them to another color. There's also the option of leaving all the colors open that you would then mix between both Pact mana, short rest, and long rest, regardless of what the color is. But the general rule that we're updating in 2024 is that only long rest mana can be used to cast 6th level and above. And so half casters like the Ranger, the Paladin, and the Artificer don't get long rest spell slots or spell mana, they get short rest. So even though they don't get 5th level spells until 17th level, it's all short rest mana that they're regaining. So they can never cast 6th to 10th level spells. They just don't have access to it because they won't have any long rest mana. That's how you can keep a separation between common magic up to 5th level and high magic of 6th level and above. It's a really interesting paradigm there. So you track your short rest and your long rest mana separately, but you can potentially blend them together freely unless you're casting a spell above 6th level, and then it has to be long rest mana. That is the only mana that's powerful enough to be able to actually wield the magic of 6th level and above. That's the idea that goes behind that. So it's a little mechanically complicated, but it worked. But the narrative works, and the mechanic is really good. If you play with it for a while, again, all this content is it's read only, but it's available here for you guys to view. We have the full conversion of the class for 2024 into the color mana system here. We aren't 100% on the language here. We're going to hire an editor probably to help us clean this stuff up a little bit. And once we actually get these books converted, they'll also be on the DMsGuild, as is all the other books that I have published here, all with free preview. Be welcome to check these things out if you think they're cool. Pick one up. Otherwise, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications when we're live in the future. And I'm just going to dive into this. So let's pluck this and drop that down so it stays out of the way. We're going to grab our Dragon King Patron stack here that we have prepared. Here is the playtest document that we got for the Unearthed Arcana. We have the Command, Compel Duel, Hold Person, Mind Spike, and Wrathful Smite. So that's 5 spells that we're getting, which means that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Command is like the driving force behind the options in this subclass. So them giving you Command for free makes sense that they would. I don't know if you necessarily need an extra spell, but there it is. Remind me of what Mind Spike is. Hold on. Let's go to our color mana list. Mind Spike is level 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and start dropping these in. Mind Spike, and that is... get on the right screen here, Kearney. Mind Spike is white, blue, and black. White, blue, black, comma. Wrathful Smite. I believe that is white and black. It's also first level. It's just black. Nice. And what else you got? Command. That's a first level spell. Should be white and black, I believe. White and black. Wrathful Smite and Compelled Duel. I think that's second level, right? Nope, first level. White, blue, black, green. Compelled Duel. White, blue, black, green. Wrathful Smite, black. Mind Spike, white, blue, black. What's the last spell that we get here? Hold Person. I think that is white and blue. No, it's just white. That's right, Suppression. So we're seeing a very dominant white-black theme here. We're also seeing a bit of blue. This is not surprising. Let's see what the rest of the list does for us. And of course, one of the caveats here is whenever you get a bonus spell due to subclasses, you can use any color that you want. So you could have a blue-green Dragon King Patron if you wanted to, and even though a generic NPC would be themed as probably white-black, your blue-green character is always the exception to every rule. So the bonus spells that we get would be cast in the colors that your character prefers. When you cast a spell like a red spell, like for example, command, what was it? Hold Person. It's white only. So the native color is white. So if I were to cast this as a second level spell, I have to spend 2 mana. 1 point has to be white, and the other point can be any color that I wanted to. That's if I'm using a strict magic system. If I'm using a narrative system, then I would just spend 2 points, and I would just say what color it is without having to actually mark down colors on my page. If you want to be strict with magic, you have to assign the color of each of the points in your mana pool, and whenever you finish a short or a long rest, you can change the colors of them. So having a limited palette of, like, say, black spells are pack magic, and then your Mystic Arcanum is black, so your Arcanum points are white and black, so you can cast either type of spell, and your character would only have 2 colors. That's a very color pair method, like from Strixhaven and Ravnica, to have characters that are defined by 2 specific colors. But if you're using a looser system with like less crunch and rules to it, then you still have your mana pool, you still spend 2 points, but you would just narrate. I'd say, like, I'm a blue-green caster, so when I cast Hold Person, it would be as a green spell, for instance. It just becomes narrative with no mechanics involved other than I spend 2 points. So it can be as light and easy as you want, or you can get crunchy with it and say, well, I've got 6 points of white and 4 points of black mana, and if I cast Hold Person, I have to spend 2 of those points. For now, I'll spend 1 point of white and 1 point of black, but maybe like a little while later, I'm down to 3 mana, 2 white and 1 black. Do I want to spend both points in white and cash out all my white, so I only have 1 point of black left, so I can't cast any spell other than a first level black spell? Or do I want to use 1 point of white and 1 point of black, leave me with 1 point of white left to cast any white spells I have at first level? So that's a crunchier level of spell casting engagement for players or tables in general during session 0. Agree that full casters should be limited in their power a little bit to keep balance between the marshals and the casters. By adding this color system, you can like knock down full casters a couple notches so that they aren't outstripping half casters or martial characters nearly as much, because half casters generally only need 1, maybe 2 colors to cast the spells that they have. Otherwise, they just do martial stuff. While full casters can typically need 2 to 4 colors unless they spend downtime researching spells instead of being white you can make hold person green if you wanted to by researching it. So whenever you prepare it for you, it's green. You can also find spell books and scrolls that have spells in unorthodox colors, so that you could then destroy that scroll to learn that spell in that color. Or you can take all those magic books and like a wizard could learn all those spells to then convert their spells, their spell selection into that color. So a lot of different ways that you can flex the system depending on what style of game that you want to play. And there's a lot of different ways you can play different styles in the 5e game engine, way beyond what just Wizards of the Coast presents in the Player's Handbook. So it's all about what kind of narrative do you want to have set up for yourself. So far so good, right? Compulsion and Staggering Smite. So Compulsion is a 3rd level spell. Compulsion is probably going to be black and red, I guess. I'm looking at the wrong level spell. I'm supposed to look at Fear and Sending. Fear I know is red. I think it's red and black. Fear, Sending. I think Sending is blue. Let's find out. Back on track. Fear is black and red. Black for control, red for emotions. And Sending is like an illusion, conjuration sort of effect, which is generally going to be blue, maybe white magic. Sending, blue magic. There you go. And now we're into Compulsion. And that should be red and black. Nope, just black. Fair enough. And it's because there's no real emotional drive behind it. It's just like kind of like suggestion or command. It just kind of forces you. And then the other spell we get is Staggering Smite. Staggering Smite, which I believe is going to be black-red, but let's verify. White, blue, black. Thank you. And then finally, at 9th level, Dominate Person and Synaptic Static. I know for a fact that's black, but I think it might also be white. And then Synaptic Static. That's psychic damage, so it should be white, blue, and black. I'm going to say Dominate Person. I'm going to guess it's white and black. I don't recall offhand, but that's my gamble. Dominate Person is... Oh, blue, black, green. Silly me. And Synaptic Static. White, blue, black. Cool. Not too bad. So massive black theme going on, which we predicted. We're seeing black and blue, black, blue, and white, black, blue, white, black, blue, black. We'll ignore the red. White, yeah. So white, blue, black. Those are your 3 colors. I was guessing we would see Dragon King as either black, blue, or black, white. Apparently it's both. You could play a white, blue, black character, but again, these bonus spells are giving us a flavor, like the general theme of how the game will approach a generic Dragon King Warlock. So that Warlock will be a mix of white, blue, or black. So you could have a good Dragon King patron. Maybe you have a Dragon King that isn't horrible, like I think Golg has a druid, I believe, that runs the show. So like a white, blue druid dragon sorcerer or Dragon King. And so you don't have to have evil despot sort of warlocks. You could have a white, blue, interested in seeking knowledge, balance, and community, which is a more druidic vibe than slaughter and oppress everybody. So you can play with that white, blue, black balance flavor inside of there and get different sort of effects. It's just a narrative tool that you can tie mechanics to if you want to with your spell points. So those are spells, and let's start looking at Tyrant's Herald. So we're going to grab the name of these things, and then we're going to Tyrant's Herald, Decisive Edict, I'm just gonna grab these titles since we're looking at them, and then we'll go into the mechanics. Decisive Edict. 10 will be Vindictive Rebuke. Very black vibe going on with these titles. Absolute Tyranny. Absolute Tyranny. So black-white, white-black seems to be the dominant theme that we're seeing behind these titles. Let's see how they work. So I'm going to pop open a notepad. And we're going to just drop them directly here into it, and then we're going to translate them. There. So we're going to go with Voice of Tyranny. And then Intimidating Presence. So we don't necessarily have to change anything about a subclass, but anytime it's talking about casting a spell, expending spell slots, and resource allocation for the day, that's generally going to be triggers that will indicate that we need to make some sort of an alteration to utilize spell points in general and the color mana specifically. So Tyrant Herald, you gain the following benefits. You gain proficiency in the Intimidation skill if you don't already have it. You also have expertise in Intimidation. That's hot. No need to change it though. It doesn't have anything to do with mana. It's just something your character can do. Cheers. Voice of Tyranny, you can cast command as a bonus action, which is great. We don't necessarily need to have it. So you want to give, if you're using spell slots, you want to give the character free uses of castings so they can do it more often without having to exhaust the 2 spell slots that they have. But at 3rd level, they don't have 2 spell slots, so you get a bonus free spell. However, with the spell point system with Warlocks, you get a number of short rest mana equal to your Warlock level, and I can cast a 1st level spell for 1 mana all the way up through 20th level as a Warlock. I don't have to use my maximum spell slot, so I can be decisive on what level I want things to be, and that allows me to pick these low-level spells that lose value as the level of your limited spell slots increase. This way, you've got a short rest mana supply, and you can divvy it out, so we don't need to give you free spells. The mana system, the spell points are already very generous in giving you stuff. But picking up command as a bonus action is fantastic. The way that the spell point variant rule system works is that we will allow you to cast spells, leveled spells that expend mana as a magic action and as a bonus action, because there's so few spells that are actually bonus actions. And the exception to that is the sorcerer, that when they use meta magic to make a quicken spell, to take a spell that's normally a magic action to cast and reduce it to a bonus action, you can't double dip that way. You could still cast a cantrip with your magic action, but that's the one exception that allows us to balance around the fact that a sorcerer can convert any spell that they want into a bonus action. So you don't want to be able to cast Fireball and then Fireball again in the same round, but having a very limited motif of what you're capable of doing, like teleport, defense, and attack spells are generally the only things that you can use as bonus action. And there's only like 11 of them in the game. So it's not unbalanced. The real balance point is quicken spell from the sorcerer. So instead of them just having the caveat limited to the sorcerer, they just made a blanket rule that says if you're spending a spell slot, you can only do it once per turn. And then they gave us a shitload of abilities to cast spells without spell slots. So you get all of these exceptions to the rules whenever you want them to. An easier way to approach it, a simpler approach, is you can cast both, you can spend mana or cantrips as actions and bonus actions if you have the ability to do so, unless you're a sorcerer using quickened meta magic, in which case you can cast that as a bonus spell if you haven't already expended mana on casting the spell already, and once you do, you can only then use a cantrip, which is the rule as it stands right now, but it removes that other limitation that affects everybody else without having to wingle around. Did I spend a spell slot or not? I didn't. Great. If I didn't use a spell slot, I can cast any spell that I want as a bonus action. They're already allowing for that rule, including magic items. Like if you have a magic item that lets you cast a spell as a bonus action and it doesn't use a spell slot, you can also use that spell. So there's all of these exceptions that exist in 5e24 now that allow you to cast more than one spell per turn by expending spell slots. We may as well just simplify that system so there's less caveats involved. The only person that has to worry about that rule is the sorcerer, and only if the sorcerer picks up Quicken Spell. So that's a really easy way to simplify the system to create less bandwidth drag on you running your character during combat. So that's, I mean, you guys can fight me over that if you want. Be welcome to join my Discord down below and throw down with me if you want. Voice of Tyranny. So you can cast command as a bonus action. You can do so a number of times equal to your charisma modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. See, you can cast it 5 times at like 4th level, and so by the time you get this, you're probably going to be able to cast it 4 or 5 times on top of the other spell slots that you get. That, to me, that's horribly imbalanced. So you can cast command as a bonus action. It's already a 1st level spell, period. And since you can cast it with 1 mana by 3rd level, you can already cast it 3 times every time you take a short rest, if that's how you want to expend your command, your mana budget. So if you're taking a short rest once per day, you're going to end up having 6 spells that you can cast, 4 normally, and then 2 free uses of command. And it only gets more absurd as you gain levels. So let's look at Decisive Edict. Copy, paste, and copy, paste. Copy, paste. So your patron's power surges through you, allowing you to rally your allies and subjugate your enemies. When you cast a spell, let's simplify this language. When you cast a spell using the Pact magic spell slot, you can cause profane power to erupt in a 30-foot emanation originating from you. For each creature you can see in the emanation, choose one of the following effects. Marshal and Oppress. I'm digging the vibe so far. I'm liking where we're going with this. Let's remind ourselves what we can actually do with the command spell. D&D Beyond. Command. Spell. Instant effect, 60-foot range. Casting time for us, it will be a bonus action. I could cast it as an action. I could therefore cast it twice in the same round. Action over there, bonus action over here. Spell components, verbal, wisdom saving throw. You speak a 1-word command to a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or follow the command. On its next turn, choose the command from these options. Approach draws them towards you. Drop means let go of stuff. Flee means move away from you. Grovel equals prone. Halt equals don't move. And takes no action or bonus action. So basically a 1-round paralysis. And using this higher spell slot, you can affect additional creatures. Okay, that's easy enough. So how do you do? When you cast, when you expend mana to cast a spell, when you expend mana to cast a Warlock spell, you can cause profane power to erupt in a 30-foot emanation from you. For each creature that you can see in the emanation, choose one of the following effects. Marshal, the character has advantage. The creature has advantage on attack rolls all attack rolls until the end of its next turn. Holy Hannah. That's good value. Oppress. That's worth 2 mana by itself. So at 6th level, that's appropriate. It's also appropriate that we're always charging you to use bonus action. When you expend mana to cast Warlock, you can cause profane power to emit. For each creature you can see in the emanation, choose one of the following effects. For a number of creatures equal to the mana expended, giving all creatures in a 30-foot emanation advantage on all attacks until the beginning of your next turn. It's too much. It's too powerful. There's people who've been speaking about power scaling issues in this Darksun, and this is a good example of that. So we're curbing that because we can make things more sensible here if we choose. They might ditch this all together and the point is moot, but for the time being, it's a thought experiment. So my thought is we should limit it to the amount of mana that you spend. That gives you incentive to crank up the level of spell that you're casting. So like if you're casting a 5th level spell, you can choose 5 targets. Oppress. The creature must succeed a wisdom saving throw or have the frightened condition until the end of its next turn. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. You can regain use of this feature when you use Magical Cunning. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm good with that. Let's see. Level 10, Vindictive Rebuke. Let's see how that did. Just grab all this. Warlocks are easy. You learn to rebuff those who challenge you or the might of your patron, blah, blah, blah. When an enemy, who cares about the flavor text? When an enemy hits you with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to force the enemy to re-roll the d20, and the enemy must use the new roll. If this reaction turns the attack into a miss, the triggering creature takes psychic damage equal to your Warlock level. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. You can use this feature a number of times. That's 10th level. You have access to 5th level spells. This would at most be 5. I'm okay with this Charisma modifier standing. And you regain all expended uses when you finish long. Yeah, I'm good with that. I have no reason to change that. It's good as is. Absolute Tyranny. Holy crap, we're almost done. Well, I got some other stuff to do, so we won't have a complete jip of a session. Go and bloop. You wield your pay blah 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 whenever you blah. Whenever you cast command, you can target one additional creature within the spell's range. Additionally, a creature frightened by you automatically fails its saving throw against any command you cast. Oh, that's tight. That's tight. So that encourages us to use our bonus action to trigger spell effects. Because we can oppress, by casting a spell, by expending mana, we can oppress targets that are now frightened, and then we can use our bonus action to cast command to target them, and they will automatically fail their command. I love that. I love that. When you cast command, you can target one additional creature within the spell's range. Additionally, a creature frightened by you automatically fails its saving throw against any command you cast. That's really cool. And that gives us reason to pace out the... Once you use this feature, you can't do so again. Until you finish a short or long rest. You also regain use of this feature when you use Magical Cunning or expend 3 mana. 3 mana at 6th level is fair. It's basically a casting of a spell to regain it. You also regain use of this when you use Magical Cunning, which is a quick rest. or expend 3 mana. No action required. So we can purchase it with mana. So if we just want to use our, like if we have high magic and we don't necessarily want to cast a 6th or 7th level spell or whatever, we can use all of that. We can use that 15 points of mana to fuel 5 uses of Decisive Edict, so you can spam this out more readily. For a number of creatures equal to the mana expended. Or we can just get rid of the limitation. The creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or have the frightened condition until the end of its next turn. Does that feel fair? When you expend mana to cast a Warlock spell, you can cause profane power to erupt in a 30-foot emanation from you. For a number of creatures equal to the mana expended, you can see an emanation. You can see in the emanation, choose one for a number of creatures equal to the mana expended. You can see in the emanation, I can give that target advantage on attack rolls. It's a 6th level ability. When you expend mana to cast a Warlock spell, you can cause profane power to erupt in a 30-foot emanation originating from you. For a number of creatures equal to the mana expended, you can see in the emanation. Choose one of, if we get rid of it, now you're parsing out how am I going to spend my mana. I'm okay with that, not requiring, not having a limitation on uses, but instead, just be a kicker effect based on the amount of mana. Yeah, I'm good with that. And then rebuke, whenever you cast command, additional target, I'm cool with that. And then creatures frightened automatically fails to save. Okay, that's super cool. There we go. That is our dragon. That is our dragon sorcerer, Warlock. Hey, what's up, Omni? Hey, Phil. Sorry for the absence. Oh man, you don't owe me anything. Life's been a little low these days. I'm sorry to hear that. I've been fantastic. Life is but a dream, you know. And sometimes the dreams are weird. Sometimes they're amazing, but you don't owe me anything. No one owes me anything. That you want to spend time here and you think my ideas are cool is a blessing to me. So thank you. Sincerely. Thank you for being here. Okay, so the Warlock is super simple. I want to then backtrack because I've been thinking about the Defiler Sorcerer, and I want to go revisit that. So we're going to trace down in the document. Again, this is linked in the document below for you to explore. It's read only. Sorry for the inconvenience, but it'll eventually, if this stuff gets published, it'll eventually be free preview on the DMsGuild altogether. So stick around for that stuff. We want to go to the Superior Defiler. I believe that's where we had the disruption. So Superior Defiler, furthered defilement. No. Can't regain hit points. That wasn't it. Essence Siphon. There it was. Initially, we left Essence Siphon off because there is no difference between sorcery points and mana with the Sorcerer. Again, go up here and look at how the Sorcerer rolls. Instead of having a separate mana pool between the two, you get, over the course of 20 levels, 100 mana. And you can spend as much of this mana on casting spells or on meta magic. And your character is limited in how much meta magic they can spend at a time based on their max sorcery at half casting progression. Level 2, 5, 9, 13, 17. At 17th level, you can spend up to 5 mana. And so like a 9th level spell with 5 mana worth of meta magic modifying it, you're going to spend 14 mana on that spell, and you've got 82 mana to do it with at this level. So, and then all the there's 23 meta magics that we have all together that cost anywhere from 1 to 4 mana to cast, and or to modify spells with. At say 9th level, when I have a max sorcery limit of 3, I could choose 3 first rank meta magic to combine them together to cost a total of 3 mana. I can use a second and a first rank meta magic for a total of 3, or I could use a single 3rd rank meta magic. So like if I were to cast, command. Let's go with command. Convincing spell. When you cast an enchantment spell that targets one creature or an illusion spell, such as command, the initial save against the spell and subsequent checks to disbelieve it if it's an illusion are rolled with disadvantage. We could also make a distance spell for 1 mana, which is when you cast a spell that has a range of touch, you can spend 1 mana to make it a range of 10 feet. When you cast a spell that has a range of 5 feet or greater, you can spend 1 mana to double the range of the spell. And then starting at 5th level, you can spend 2 mana to increase the range of a touch spell to 20 feet. Empowered spell, like you can see, like we go from 5 feet to a 10 feet reach with 1 mana, and then it says you can spend 1 mana to increase the range of 5 feet or greater to double the range of that spell. But you already spent a spell making a touch spell a 10-foot reach. So now at 5th level, when we can spend 2 mana, we can first make that touch spell 10 feet, and then we double it to 20 feet. That's the mechanics that go on there. So we can do a convincing spell, a distance spell to hit you with command up to 120 feet away, give you disadvantage on the saving throw to do it, and what's another good one? Quicken spell. When you cast a spell that has a casting time of 1 action, you can casting time of a magic action. You can spend a number of mana equal to the level of the spell, equal to the level that the spell is cast up to your maximum sorcery limit. Like I can't quicken a 6th level spell because it exceeds my mana cap. Again, we're reducing the power that full casters have over half casters and marshals by stamping down how much they can wield this massive power. It's just a balance issue. You can ignore that if you want, but I think it's a good balance decision. So fight me over it on my Discord. Be welcome to join. To cast a spell is a bonus action. If you cast a spell other than a cantrip during this turn, you cannot use this discipline. You cannot use this meta magic. If you have expended mana, if you have expended mana to cast a spell, because you can hit a cantrip with meta magic, so technically you're spending mana to cast a cantrip when you do that. So, if you have expended mana to cast a spell other than a cantrip during this turn, you cannot use this meta magic. And once you use this meta magic, you cannot cast a spell. You cannot expend mana to cast a spell unless it's a cantrip for the rest of this turn. There, that's the language. So we could quicken the spell, we could distance the spell, extend the spell. Distant the spell, and we can convincing spell. That's 3 mana that we would spend. Quickened is 1 because it's a 1st level spell command. Convincing spell to give you disadvantage on the save, and distance spell to hit you with it 120 feet away instead of 60. So that's 3 use. Like at 9th level, I can juice it like with all those things at the same time. This is a 3rd edition concept. In 3rd edition, sorcerers were allowed to stack meta magic like this, and there was 50 different types of meta magic in 3rd edition, or what you would call 1st edition Pathfinder. I curated that list down to 23 options that like doubling damage and stuff like that. It's I didn't do things like that, or like increase the area of effect of a spell that causes more damage because you hit more targets than the spell was normally intended to. That throws off the balance more, especially once you start adding kicker effects onto it. So we were really picky and tight about what meta magic options that we chose. So it's a pretty good list, and I've been running this in a Curse of Strahd campaign, and currently we're level 6, and I know Curse of Strahd will go on to level 13, so I'm going to have a good opportunity to play through all these options. But I had a ton of experience in 3rd edition playing sorcerers with meta magic, and like literally like hundreds of hours of doing it. And I'm running it in 5th edition, so I'm really comfortable with the balancing points on stacking meta magic effects. I understand why Wizards of the Coast didn't do it. It's mechanically complicated, but that's an opt-in kind of complication. If you don't want to cast multiple meta magics at a time, you don't have to. But the supply of mana, the number of spell slots and sorcery points that they give you in 5e kind of stifles that stacking as a one-shot burst nova. But when you have up to 100 mana by 20th level, that is a ton of resources that you can really lean into casting meta magic on your spells. In fact, with 23 meta magics and you preparing 25 meta magics with 7 cantrips, you can basically prepare all the meta magic and just lean on or rely on your bonus spells that you get from your subclass and your 7 cantrips and just modify those 17 spell casting effects. So it's still a pretty wide option of stuff. It's just that you can then lean into, do I want to spend more points on meta magic alteration of things that I do reliably, or do I want to broaden my palette and do more things with my mana pool with less reliant on meta magic? But if you're going to go in that route, you may as well play a wizard, because a wizard has massive breadth through their spell book. So it's a different style. Like if you want to lean into modifying and kit bashing your spells, sorcerer is the obvious way to go. So having said that, going back down to the Draconic Sorcery, which is where we're actually at right now. No, it's not Draconic Sorcery, sorry. It's the Defiling Sorcery, thank you. Defiler's Wars, Strengthening, is that where it is? 14th level, thank you. Defiling Shroud, and there we go, Essence Siphon. When you use Defiling Magic, you can choose a target within the Withering Aura that you can see to take necrotic damage equal to the result of the hit dice rolled. If the target is a plant creature, the damage is doubled. In addition, when you use Essence Siphon, all non-magical plants that aren't a creature immediately wither and die. Let's see. Let's see, how do I want to do this? 1 second. We're going to grab that because we're going to change it. So here's the change that we made to Defiling in the first place, right? So Defiling Magic, you gain a unique means of channeling meta magic while casting sorcerer spells called Defiling. When you use Defiling meta magic, you can choose to expend hit dice instead of mana to channel meta magic up to your max sorcery limit in any combination with mana expended to channel meta magic effects. When you expend hit dice this way, you don't gain any hit points. So at 20th level, a Defiler has their 100 mana that they can spend on spell casting or meta magic modifications as they please, but they also have 20 hit dice that they can spend specifically on meta magic. So you can keep your 100 mana to cast spells and use your hit dice to modify them with meta magic, or you can mix, like if I'm going to use like four mana worth of meta magic, I can put like 3 hit dice and 1 point of mana, for instance. So that's how it works in general. So with the Essence Siphon, when an enemy dies within the aura, when an enemy dies within the aura, you regain a number of hit point dice equal to your max sorcery limits. At 14th level, that is a limit of 4, and it will eventually become 5 at 17. One moment. You use Defiling Meta Magic. Let's see. When an enemy dies within your aura, you regain a number of hit point dice equal to your max sorcery limit. let's see. When an enemy dies within the aura, you regain a number of hit point dice equal to your max sorcery limit. I like the idea. The way that we had it was when you use Defiling Meta Magic, when you spend hit dice, you can choose to target a creature to take within the Withering Aura that you can see to take necrotic damage. But we dipped out of that. Reduce damage. 30 foot. Temporary hit points. Yeah. So instead, when an enemy dies within the aura, you regain a number of hit point dice equal to your max sorcery limits. You can use this. You can use this feature once per use of innate sorcery. Easy enough. I like the flavor of dealing damage and then destroying plant life around you. That vibes a lot with the original version of 2nd edition Defiling Magic, where it would destroy life around them. But we don't know what they're going to do with Darksun in 5e. They could completely change that paradigm, so I don't want to lock myself into that. I'm just modifying what they did to work with mechanics. So I'm backtracking that, and I found a way to make this work. So I'm happy with this. Regaining hit point dice, you then have to expend mana to reactivate the innate sorcery, because you only have it twice per day, unless you expend mana to gain more uses of it, and it's 2 mana per use. So I expend 2 mana to re-trigger this effect as a bonus action, at which point I can then pull 4 or 5 hit dice if I'm missing any hit dice. So this basically keeps your character healthy, but you're slowly going to whittle down the amount of meta magic you can do, because you're having to expend mana to make use of this feature over and over again. So I am perfectly content with that. And when an enemy dies, you regain. Actually, we could go with the D4. When an enemy dies within your aura, you regain a number of hit dice. You regain. Sure, why not? You regain 1d4 hit dice. Period. Let's just go with that. You know, for the memes. One, two. Yeah, that feels good. Well, that's until we see something more finalized. That's gonna stick. So, but hey, that's our mechanics for the day. So that was a pretty tight turnaround. It took about an hour for us to do that. That's a decent little lunch break. So I'm going to bounce out of here. I'm going to be back on Monday. I have vacation day on Monday. So I'm going to have a longer session doing artwork Monday morning. And I might drop in for a lunch shift, something on Monday. Not 100%, but I'll definitely be back Monday night to work on the Bastion campaign, to review and update complications that arise while issuing orders to your Bastion. So if you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, bell icon, blah de blah. And I'm going to bounce out of here for the day. So be welcome to drop into my Discord channel and talk shop if you want. This document is in the description down below, along with all the other books that I've already published on the DMsGuild. All this stuff is eventually going to get broken up into their proper books and components. We're going to start production of that probably, I want to say we're probably going to start production in probably January. We're going to keep play testing these mechanics in the mega dungeon that we're running on my Discord channel. We're going to run that through the end of the year, and then we're going to reassess where we're at. If it feels like it's strong enough to go, then we're going to start locking down production and moving forward. We already have all the mana mechanics for 2014 published on the DMsGuild, link down below. But we're updating all this stuff for the new tech for 2024, along with the martial powers mana system for the martial characters, so that all 14 character classes in the game, yes, 14 including the Scion, operate on the same type of mana point system, so that you can smoothly multi-class between the different classes to create different types of action loops and character builds that are going to use the same mana resource the same way, or modify them, but has the same base mechanic of all of our resources are now built on mana. So, and again, this will all be on the DMsGuild once it's done, but if you're interested in playtesting this stuff, jump into my Discord channel and start participating, and I'm happy to support you if you're happy to support me. So, thanks a lot, guys. I'll see you on the other side. Have a great week.